Hello everyone, and welcome to a few notes on the turbo cameras over here and trying to understand the codes. If you've ever worked with turbo cameras before, you're thinking about it, you'll see there's quite a few hundred of these cameras with a whole bunch of different kinds of codes, and two of the codes are listed over here. And they could be understood as being a bit confusing. But today we're just going to look at it very briefly and see if we can just simplify it a little bit so that you have a better understanding of the different kinds of cameras that exist, how the codes work, and then we'll look at some examples. So in specific over here, these two codes, DS-2CE16DOT-IRF. Looking at that one in particular, in both cases, they start off as DS-2CE. And DS is just for Hikvision. 2CE identifies it as a color camera, and it's an economical type of camera. So 2CE says a color and economical kind of camera. Then I've got the next four characters, 16DOT. The first digit, 1, identifies with the shape of the camera. So in this instance, a 1 would be a little bullet. And as we go through all the different kinds of numbers, there will be a 5 and a 7. It identifies with a different physical shape of the camera. The next digit could be a 6 or a 9, as you see over here in blue. Talks about the revision of the camera as it's going through developmental processes. The next letter then, D or a U, this identifies with the resolution of the kind of camera. So you might have a C, D, a U, and D in this case means 2 megapixels and U means 8 megapixels or 4K. The last number over there, 013589, talks about the feature sets that are available in the camera. So nothing to do with the physical format of the camera, but more about how the camera is able to work with the images that it's busy capturing. T stands for turbo, and then afterwards there's a whole bunch of codes which were not very much different from the IP cameras, but I for infrared, F, V, P, IT, they're all just there. But our primary part over there is to understand which kind of a camera we primarily want. 16DOT. So if I look at examples, my first example I pick up over here would be my 16DOT-IT3F. And as you can see, 1, it's a bullet shape, a rectangular shape. 6 is just a revision that has gone through. D means it's 2 megapixels, as you can see over there. O means it's the very entry feature set. But even for an entry camera, which Hikvision lists as the value series, it still does have a lot of amazing features. So you'll see there's the XIR, infrared illuminators, the smart IR feature, switchable protocol outputs, IP66. There's a lot of features inside over here. Looking at the next one over here, 16U1T. Now that's a 1. So I've gone from a feature set 0 to a feature set 1. It's still part of the value series, but it means it's just that it's got something extra going with it. 76, well, the 7 means it's a different kind of a shape. And there you see it's the type of mini bullet, mini dome. The U in this case means 8 megapixels or 4K video resolution. So even inside the value series of the turbo cameras, I've still got an 8 megapixel camera. And then my last example that we have over here from the value series would be the D3T. Now the D3 just really starts to talk about another feature setting. In this case, the 3 is about the extra low light capability of the camera. So it's a very good low level, low light performer. It says it over there, ultra low light. If I go through the specs and the data, I'll see it's a 0.005 lux camera. So out of the value series, I've got the 0, 1, 3 kind of numbers, and they're identified with that basic kind of a camera that I can put into almost every type of situation, and I don't really want too much fancy stuff out of it. You'll see the D3T also does have 120 dBs of true wide dynamic range. I'll move on to the next level over here. Very similar kind of number structure, but I've gone to a D8T this time. So now my feature set has moved on quite a bit more. And so this camera starts to identify with the Pro series, the professional series of the turbo cameras. Still a great low light performer. And what we're looking at over here is a couple more features. And some of the features that you're looking at are the ability to manipulate the image a whole lot more. So if I look at the, what is the difference between the 0, 1, 3 and the 8? Well, the 8 is going to give me privacy and motion detection of the image inside the camera itself, not inside the recorder. So if we scroll down, you'll see over here 4 programmable privacy masks and 4 programmable motion areas. Naturally, this needs some kind of a communication to be able to set it up. And so what we're doing is now we're going up the coax kind of telemetry to get to the camera to set those features. So one cable now actually supplies the video from the camera down to the recorder, but also supplies the communication from the recorder back to the camera so you can do some setting changes on it. And that's where the Pro series of the cameras come in. So when I'm looking for a camera that I need to be able to adjust the image, I need a bit more functionality, flexibility. I want to do some mirroring, some smart HLCs. I'll go for the Pro series. And out of their 3 general series of the Value, Pro, and Ultra, this one here would be Ultra. Now I'm looking at a 9T. So I've moved on to that last digit. And here I'm looking at a couple more features again. And one of the more important ones that you start to look at is the POC, where I'm now using the same cable for power as well. So I've got power and information coming from my recorder and source up to the camera, and video going down the line to that same camera. So I only needed the one cable to do my telemetry, to do my video, and to do my power. Interesting feature inside the camera over here, the ones that have got the POC format, is that it's got smart voltage detection, which will tell you if the power on the cable has started to got too low or too high and what's getting to the camera at the end of the day. So you get this pop-up warning on your screen when you use this kind of a camera. Looking at the feature sets inside here as well, you'll see there's defog, mirror, defective pixel correction, and lens shading correction. Defective pixel correction just means that I've got the ability to try and fix 1 or 2 pixels that are on the screen of the camera, which don't seem to be operating as they should be. And then the lens shading correction is at the border of my image. I might have some blurring or some loss of color or brightness, and I can go and start to fix those kinds of things over there. And that would be our Ultra series camera. The last couple of cameras just to look at over there, if we jump onto it, and these are where we're going to see like special series kinds of camera. DFT. So now I'm not using numbers anymore, I've got into a letter, and the F now just represents the color view series of cameras. And these are the cameras that now run with color at nighttime. In order to have color at night, I do have a white light illuminator inside the camera, not an infrared illuminator anymore. You will not get you will not get colored images from an infrared source. So we have a white light illuminator inside here to be able to do that. So DFT, color view cameras. I've also got what we have over here as an example, the D8T, which is the normal kinds of cameras, which would come out of the Pro series, but it's a per low. And that extension at the back over there, the per, just talks about the fact that it's got a passive infrared sensor built into the camera to pick up heat movement. So this would be the type of camera that you can use, which automatically picks up if there's a person that's able to walk around and capture them and trigger an alarm on it. And you'll see the different kinds of alarms that you have over there. So in this one, per detection, strobe light alarm, and alarm output. So you might even have stuff like an audio output or just a normal relay output, depending what kind of camera you go for over here. There's the metal version, the plastic options. IR range is not very great, 20 meters, but it's designed for that type of stuff over there. The per angle, there it is, 110 degrees, range 11 meters. Actually, when we talk about IR range, it shouldn't really be IR range. It should be more about the white light range, based on the fact that we don't have a. And then the last one that we have over here is where I've taken my DFT camera, my color view camera, and I've combined it with the PIR camera so that I've got color images with the PIR sensor, really going to the full end of having a decent camera to work well at night, give me a color image, but be able to automatically pick up when somebody's moving around in front of it. The character or the feature sets are not going to be as great as what you had inside the Ultra series, but that's not really what you want over here. I've still got my programmable masks, my motion areas, wide dynamic range. I've got those kinds of things over there. Effective pixel correction, smart light, mirror, sharpness, brightness, those all there. So really quite a great camera. The 0.0005 lux. Very, very good low-level response in light. And that's just talking about the Hikvision Turbo cameras very shortly. If there's an extra question that you have, please do let me know. Give us a shout, ask it, ask if you need advice. Thank you for listening, and check out for the next couple, which are going to be looking more specifically at some of those cameras.